recommend not be sooner than later. Unfortunately, Region 4 had it in February, but, then again, I think we're like the first one to have it anywho. So sort of last year, that's sort of what I would like to see more improvement next year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director Andrade. And I want to hear more of your thoughts on this. Do you think that maybe creating some sort of change to the job description would be helpful? And if so, should this be a discussion about holding them yearly, like per term, or per semester?
Chair.
Recognized.
Yeah, I would think this would be more implemented more as a RAD. I think this should be more of a discussion as well when it comes to this committee, and maybe even more of a potential change when it comes to the job description, because I feel like this is sort of pertinent regarding, delegates camaraderie, especially when, AB 2449 about the slide through one talked about one time again. So thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Let me just look into frequency. Director Odenbrett, recognized?
I remembered it right as I forgot it. It was me. I was going to ask if anyone has been doing in-person delegate assemblies, because I know that was a thing pre-COVID, and then over COVID we just moved everything online, and then everyone's kind of been maybe a little too comfortable doing everything online because it feels, yeah. And then I really like the idea of the delegate assemblies, and my 2 cents is I think there should be one per semester.
For the summits?
Yes. Okay. Not assembly, sorry, yes, for the summits.
Okay. I'll answer the question about in person. No one has held an in-person in-person delegate assembly this year. But Region 3 has held, I think, a couple executive committees in person. I'm guessing just based off of how close each of the officers live. And so just with AB 24492, if that ends in February, we'll have to hold DAs in person.
Oh.
Yeah, so that will be a big change for us. And what about for regional operations? What are your guys' thoughts on putting something on a transition, like a guide into transitioning into in-person DAs? What are your guys' thoughts? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Good. All right, I just see one. I'll just write that. Director Greenwood?
So I think in terms of events and things, I think what would be great for us to do is to take the feedback that we've gotten already from students, whether it's us visiting, from us, holding trainings at other institutions, or from what we've been given at PD. I think they've been vocal as to what their concerns are, and crafting events that cater to that. I think we'll see more engagement, if that makes sense.
And that's for in-person events?
I would say hybrid, because, for students that cannot attend, I would recommend hybrid events because it caters to both parties. But I did have a question. For events that are not getting the turnout that we would like, is that logged? Because, if we're holding certain events, if it, you stated, and it's not getting a turnout, is that something that we're logging so that we can keep that in mind, and for all of it to be reported back to RAD so that we're aware of that and we know what's working, what's not working in terms of events we're holding, or town halls, webinars, etc.
That is a great point. And from my understanding, so for this year, no webinars or town halls have been held. So there's no sort of institutional memory on that. However, in past years, for example, past town halls, webinars, and conferences, there is memory of that, and that comes from the executive director. That's actually in her job description to have that institutional memory. However, is it made public? Public as in easily accessible to RADs, to reference? No. So I think that we should look into that. So log, there was one note about, logging in-person SBA visits. I don't know if I already wrote that, and then we can write here, logging turnout numbers. Thank you for that. Great. Was that it for your comment?
I did have like another follow-up question on that. In terms of like the regional summits that have been held, what has been the turnout for those? Because we're talking about having more frequency, but I mean, I know what's going on within my region. I don't know what's going on necessarily in everybody's region, but like, what has been the turnout for that specifically? Like,
I know there was a big summit held by Region 5 last year. Director Villarreal was the RAD then. I don't know if you want to sort of touch on that. From my understanding, it was a great turnout.
Yeah, I know, especially because we promoted it and we were in conjunction with Region 6. By us being able to find a spot where it was easily accessible for all the delegates, we picked Bakersfield just because, it's only an hour away from where I'm at. I know it's an hour away from Clovis, from Fresno, all these different places. And so that's why we held it there, and it was a nice campus. But it took a lot of preparation and a lot of hard work. And I believe it was still a hybrid situation that we had. But we did have a really good turnout in person, which was really nice.
Thank you for speaking on that, Director Villarreal. I will go back to your comment right now, Director Greenwood. I just want to get to these other hands. Director Odenbrett?
AB 24. I think, remind me. The one that makes us have everything in person.
AB 2449.
Yes. What does that affect other than just delegate assemblies? Would that affect BLAC and RAC and all of our committee meetings?
Yes, it definitely will. It'll affect pretty much every aspect of this organization.
Oh.
And I was thinking like, didn't we? Oh yeah. So we held at December board of directors, which you were not a director then. No. Stephen, our community organizer, went into an in-depth presentation on that. So I don't have that information available, but just like to give you a general overview, what AB 2449 does is it returns us back to like pre-COVID mandates, which means that if we were in a state of emergency, Brown Act was changed to allow virtual meetings for legislative bodies, and like we're a legislative body, our committees, DAs, all of that. So pre-COVID, it was all in person with addresses posted on the agenda for those not attending in person.
We can only not attend in person, quote unquote, like twice per calendar year, right?
Yeah, I believe it's 3 times, and for emergency purposes, I believe.
So, was there anything to sign up?
Sorry. Point of clarification?
Yeah.
It's only if you don't want to put your location on the agenda. So if you put your location on the agenda, you can attend virtually from somewhere else. But if you don't want to turn your camera on and you don't want to put your location, then it's all those rules for the other law.
Yeah, it's something like that. In all honesty, I'm really not a policy wonk, so I have to look back into that. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I was. That makes more sense. I was a little worried of having to do everything in person all of a sudden.
That still really is concerning, but
it's still concerning. But we can still do things virtually. That's a little more doable.
Would you guys want more another presentation from Stephen on this? And RAC, put your thumbs up if yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we need a full presentation? I kind of just want an email detailing what's going on. But mostly because I missed the first one.
Okay. Well, I will talk to him about making it sort of the key points about it, but I think it'll be still good to have him come. All right. Director Andrade.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Well, first I was going to say time's up. Sorry, as the person taking minutes, I apologize. Time's up.
All right. Are there any objections to extending this item by 15 minutes. We have very little to go over after this, so we'll probably leave early.
No objections.
Okay. With no objections, time is extended by 15 minutes. Let's get back into discussion. Director Andrade, is your hand still up?
Yes, Chair. Thank you. Actually, I'm going to put a pin in it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Director Greenwood?
So I think for the regional summits, we should add a note for collaboration, like to encourage, if we're going to make a frequency, to encourage regions to collaborate with each other. That way it also combines resources and doesn't, I think that would be helpful. And then in terms of the meetings, I believe that with the Brown Act, like being uplifted potentially on February 28th, that it's only for 2 meetings that an individual can do that and for certain circumstances.
Okay. Yeah. Director Douge?
Yeah, that, like I said, that's only if you don't want to put your location on the agenda. You can only do it for there's a certain percentage, which is like 2 or 3, and then if you want to go virtually, then you have to put your location. It has to be posted somewhere that's ADA compliant, and it has to be for 72 hours, just like everything else. So Stephen will clarify that, but we had training.
Yeah. I think we're getting a little off topic because I know AB 2449 is like scary, so I understand the discussion, but I'll definitely make sure to reach out to Stephen so he can come and like clarify everything. All right, Director Andrade?
No, I'm good. I was going to say something, point of information or whatever. Keep it pushing. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Okay, so... All right, I love these comments. Anything else for events? All right, let's move on to activation and retention. Any goals, any strategies that we can do to get activation and retention up this semester, for the rest of this term, and for future terms? Director Andrade, recognized.
Well, I don't know if this is going to be really applicable to this year, except for maybe the RADs who sort of don't have delegates already and maybe have trouble retention. But, one thing that I really felt that was more feasible, and that I think that when I started this term, I sort of created a template that sort of helped assist, navigate the SSCCC and, each individual SBA, because each individual SBA may have, a certain individual who's already assigned to be an SSCCC delegate. So I felt that sort of form and that little template was a little bit more advantageous to sort of excavate forward for my executive officers and I. And it helps sort of us retain, quite a few heads from right off the bat. And I felt like another way to keep sort of the discussion going and sort of keep retention going is having the conversation early regarding what they want to see on the agenda and what they want to make the most out of it. I believe that sort of is just, I don't want to say sort of a given, but I think it's sort of a given as to sort of that we serve the delegates to sort of appease and do sort of what they're asking of. So I think that's pretty much it as far as like starting. And I know that thank you, Chair.
Yeah, I really agree on the second one. That's something that, like, even in, like, when I was a RAD, I did it. Like, I would just put procedural items on my agenda, because I think I honestly, like, didn't know what I was doing, which is totally okay, especially in the beginning. And then it wasn't until Dr. Adams was like, sort of, and also you guys, like, we really should just focus on what it is the delegates want to see. What kind of training do they want to see? What kind of advocacy is important to them? Because ultimately that's what drives them to continue in this organization, is making change. So I think starting off this semester, next year, and continuing in this term, move your procedural items to consent, make them short, and talk about things like reports, responsibilities, all of that in one-on-ones in the beginning of the term. I think that will really help you and the regions focus on what matters most, which is the advocacy we all come here to do. So communication regarding what it is delegates want to see on agendas. And then I'm going to also put making procedural items short, discussing them in one-on-ones. All right, Director Odenbrett?
I literally had something very similar, but just straight up asking what would garner participation for them, because I know that's something that I've encountered difficulty in. Is just literally getting SBAs to send a delegate. And an example, one of my colleges, their SBA president was the RAD last year for my region, and does not want to send delegates. And one of her complaints was that SSCCC focuses too much on the community college level, and there's not enough like outreach to like the UCs and the CSUs and like interconnectedness that way. So me personally, I've been looking into attending UC, like the UCSD, so because I'm in San Diego, UCSD and SDSU SBA meetings, kind of just to see if we can start to bridge that somehow, maybe do some events together to try and get that one college on board to sort of to appease her, but I also see her point, so I feel like it is important and it is like of personal interest for me to go and do.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Only thing I would be wary of is UCSA and CCSA they're just like us. They're our sister organizations or cousin organizations. They focus primarily on what it is that affects each of their systems.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is sometimes like sort of a cross, right? Like for example, we have CSAC, which is like there's like a member from each sort of organization on there, things like that, where there is cross collaboration, but also we should focus on, what it is that affects our system particularly. But I understand what you're saying, and yeah.
Oh yeah, and I understand that, and I'm not looking to like make it all one organization or something, because we obviously have different goals because we have different systems, and that's just like it is what it is. But I thought that I would go and like come back with notes essentially and just be like, here's like what's going on, and then here's like how you can communicate with them if that's something that like you would want to do, and trying to get her to like.
Right.
It's like it's a whole thing, but it's just kind of just asking like my original point was asking delegates what they want, what would make them participate and what they want from us.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else for activation, retention, goals, ideas, strategies? Okay, let's move on to professional development. So this comes out from sort of a personal goal I had for RAC, was to offer you guys more professional development. I just think that training opportunities, maybe guest speakers coming to RAC would be helpful. I think honestly, like the most that I've learned is through conferences and networking and experiencing things firsthand. And that's made me more confident in my leadership in the SSCCC. So I wanted to hear more specifically what kind of professional development you guys would like. Is it a specific topic? Is it, housing issues? How can I help my students advocate for housing issues? Is it chairing meetings, parliamentary procedure and Brown Act? Whatever it is, I sort of just want to hear what that is. And so I can work on it in the coming months to make sure that happens. I'll give you some time for reflection, maybe like a minute or two, and then we'll continue because I do really want to talk about this. Dr. Andrade?
Thank you, Chair. I'm sort of thinking towards like next year, I guess. But one thing I would like to sort of see regarding next year is sort of that the directors are sort of more familiarized with the policies and procedures a little bit more. I feel like sort of one thing that occurred this past sort of semester was that there was a little bit, not contention, that's a terrible word, but a little bit of cloft, if you will, regarding, which policies and procedures were applicable and which ones weren't. So I feel like just getting more of a clear, concise as to sort of for the RADs to, be better engaged with that. I feel like that would be a lot more advantageous for just the board of directors as a whole, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, and that was also something last year's board talked about as well, and that's where the Canvas came out of, because at the end of the year, our reflection was that our board of directors and officers didn't feel familiar enough. So if RADs and LADs and officers are still feeling that, I think there's still more work to be done on that front. Anything else for professional development? What kind of training, guest speakers you guys would like to see?
Chair?
Yes.
Maybe communication, like training. So a big part of our job is to communicate with students, stakeholders, and other things I'd like to see professional development for improved communication skills. So I think that's will help us run meetings as well. And then also for like conflict resolution, or just ways to deal. Like we had training like that earlier this year, but things like that I think would be helpful.
Thank you for that. Conflict resolution. Thank you, Director Douge. Any other things you guys would like to see? Think of, reflect and think, where is it that I need more help? What is it that I would like to learn more about? Director Andrade recognized.
I didn't know if you wanted to recognize Director Green first, because I noticed his mic was muted first.
I did not see that. Director Green, do you have a comment?
I do, but I'm also driving. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you can? Okay. What I was going to say was I would like to know more about the legislative side in terms of how SBAs can turn their legislative priorities, for example, into something tangible. I feel like that's kind of a gap that I have when I'm explaining that to other people. I know that that's something that we do as the SSCCC, but I don't exactly know how. So getting some information on that would be great.
Okay, thank you for that. Oh. Maybe we can do something on how to incorporate what the lads are learning in LAC and how that sort of affects your role, because it does ultimately. Learn more about how ledge trickles down to local level and how to engage, how to mobilize and engage SVAs once it does. Does that sound right, or should I sort of change that up, Director Green? I don't know. Well, you're driving, so I don't. All right. Director Andrade recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I guess my final comment regarding professional development was sort of be similar to what I said the first time, except in lieu of sort of dealing with procedures and policies. I think just being sort of more on the same timeline and establishing sort of a better timeline for RADs to sort of gauge regarding as far as retention, when they should be holding internal committee assignments, all that jazz. Because I'm going to be honest, it felt a little bit later than usual this time around. I felt like I noticed regional internal committees didn't really start until November, December. So I feel like maybe creating sort of a better timeline as far as you should have an executive board meeting by this time if you can, or having a DA at this juncture by this time. Giving that sort of RAD sort of a guideline as to, steps to, making more of a retention. And I guess that's sort of what I would think about. I don't know. I don't know if that made any sense. To me, it did. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, it does. More of a timeline for RADs to begin operations, delegate assemblies, internal committees, reports. I think that's a great idea. Okay. I'm going to just put a note also could be training. I'm going to fix my spelling errors later. Okay, so last one, let's wrap this up. Toolkits. So we already have one, assist with SBAs and implementation of toolkits. Anything else? What is it that, now reflecting back, what is it that you guys wish you would have known about how can we make sure that our delegates in February, once toolkits are submitted, implement these toolkits on their local campuses? How do we make sure that the toolkits we create this year continue past this term? Because obviously no major, we're not going to eliminate Proctorio in 2 months. How do those continue? So just thoughts, goals, and feelings about toolkits.
Chair?
Yes.
I was thinking maybe after toolkits, like say annually toolkits are due, say February or something like that, then we can have like a toolkit campaign with SSCCC so SBAs can be educated on the toolkits, because I showed this weekend a member of my student government the toolkit because the period product in the bathroom situation came up. They didn't even know that SSCCC had all these graphics and all these cool things that can be used to advocate for this important topic. So something with getting the message out to SBAs and students about it.
Love that idea. Let's find ways to publicize. Maybe we should look into doing like a RAC hosted webinar. I think that would be cool with all of you guys as speakers. All right, anything else for toolkits? Okay, all right, so this is hyperlinked to the agenda, so all of you guys should have access to it. If you don't, just share a request and I'll share it with you. And think about ways, look through each of these and think about ways that these things can actually be implemented. And then I'll bring this back to next RAC and maybe with some tools for you guys on certain issues, and so that we can get a roll on these. I think this was a great discussion. Thank you guys. So we'll bring this back to next RAC to start implementation. Awesome. Yay. All right. Item E, delegate activation update / strategy. Strategy, I think that sort of ties into the goals. So we'll pause on that, but let's just I'm going to open up this tracker and just want to hear updates from you guys. So the RAC will discuss updates to a delegate activation / retention and possibly take action to approve of a format to increase activation levels. So we won't do that today, but I just want to go through each region like we used to do at previous RACs and hear where you guys are at. I'm going to make mental notes so that I can set up a meeting with Steven to see where he's at as far as advisor outreach and all of that, so we can get some more activation levels up. Region 1, have you heard anything about Feather River, Lassen, and Siskiyous?
I was talking with Steven about this, and he said that he was able to get in touch with them, and yeah, we've been kind of going back and forth trying to get in touch with their advisors and trying to get somebody. So it's in the process, but yeah, and that's for Lassen and Siskiyous, I think.
Awesome. That would be great once you get them. Almost a full Region 1. Awesome. Region 2, so Region 2's RAD's not here, but yesterday I was in LAC and Calbright has a delegate. So that'll be the first delegate Calbright ever sent to the SSCCC since we recognized their SBA last year at last BOD. So that's really awesome. For those of you who aren't aware, Calbright is a fully virtual community college. So they were the ones that added us from 115 to 116 community colleges. And they're in the process of establishing their SBA. They already have a president and delegate. They just need to do some last minute touch-ups. So that's really exciting. Region 3, any updates? Director Core isn't on the line. That's right. Okay. Region 4, any updates?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Chair. I updated it already, but it was sort of like a switch. It went from us losing Ohlone to us gaining San Jose City College. I'm not going to touch base about San Jose City because we know how I feel about them. And sorry, that's my school disclaimer. But Ohlone, I've reached out to the alternate delegate because the alternate delegate is more in tune with the SSCCC than that current delegate. They RSVP'd me for a potential maybe for this slide through for this DA. So If they slide through the DA and if we make quorum, I will reactivate them on the spot. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And then West Valley is just vibing over there, doing their own thing, waiting to GA, sliding through, and living their best life, as they should. Thank you, Chair.
Awesome. I hope Aloni gets that alternate up and running. Awesome. Region 5, any updates?
Alrighty. So at our last delegate assembly, I know we have Porterville listed as an active, but we did have a new delegate show up, which was confirmed through Stephen. And so they were active again. So, our quorum jumped up, where it went from like a 7 count to an 8 count now. Apart from that, I think Stephen has reached out to Modesto, or no, it's Merced. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Merced. And then from there, I think it's Merced. And then Saracoso, I still need to get back on. But hopefully at our next delegate assembly, they can show up and be present there. And then from there, get reactivated again. So that's my update.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for that. Region 6, any updates?
Yes, Antelope Valley, I believe they have been activated, and Lad Jones will be reaching out to Westa College. That's his college. He attends that college. And I'm going to reach out to College of the Canyon to ask them to activate. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I saw Ventura got a delegate after they went inactive, so that's really great. And Antelope Valley, I haven't received a verification form from them, so
still waiting.
Yeah, still waiting on that. But once you get that, you're almost there, so that's really great. Region 7, any updates?
Yes. So I actually have a question. Did you hear back from Stephen about transitioning one of the colleges inactive?
I did not. I haven't heard back.
Okay. So that's just the only update that I have so far.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Region 8.
Okay. So Cyprus, I believe we were able to get a delegate for that, but I'm not completely sure, so I don't want to turn it just yet. Just want to make sure, but I know that we have definitely made contact with a delegate there. I believe we also reached out to Fullerton and Orange Coast. We were able to get in contact with them, so hopefully we'll be able to get a delegate for there soon. And then everywhere else we've reached out to for our next delegate assembly. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, Orange Coast used to be active, and then their delegate left the SBA, so hopefully Orange Coast comes back. That's also great with Cypress and Fullerton because their advisors have been unreachable. And then Saddleback, it's interesting because Saddleback was one of the most active colleges in Region 8 last year from my recollection. So hopefully, you get some contact there as well. Awesome. Okay. Region 9. Region 9. All right, I don't know if you...
Oh, yes. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, I was muted a little bit. I made this outreach to one of the unactivated the Copper Mountain. I found a new advisor. So then, yeah, that's why I've established in contact. So I'm waiting for this other committee I'm a part of to ask that person who gave me the information, why haven't we heard back from them yet, basically. So that's my only update. I'm waiting for this other meeting to try to connect again with the person for Copper Mountain. Not for Copper Mountain, but is a student at Copper Mountain, SBA.
Awesome. Yeah, and for College of the Desert has a delegate. I don't know why they haven't verified. It's on their website. So I think I might just have to pop into one of their meetings and be like, what's up? Because I see they have a delegate, so I don't know if they're just not getting the form. And I think we talked about that too. So
yeah, that would be awesome if you can help us get College of the Desert activated. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. Region 10, any updates?
Kind of a full everything since I haven't been to Iraq yet. But Cuyamaca literally just, like, they didn't even have an SBA until the end of second semester. Or not second semester, sorry, the end of fall semester. So I was, like, holding off on even dealing with it. So I was gonna, when spring semester starts up again for us, in, like, a week, I'm gonna start reaching out. Grossmont, I literally have been, like, people who I can't get a hold of, I've been just going to their SBA meetings and, like, harassing them in person, which I highly recommend to anyone, which we're supposed to be visiting colleges anyways, so it's kind of, you get a 2-in-1 of, it gets results, I will say. And Grossmont's SBA president last year was the RAD for last year for my region, and has a vehement dislike of the SSCCC. So I essentially was like, I'll check back in spring. So I will check back in when spring semester starts in, like, a week, and crash another SBA meeting. Imperial Valley College, she's up, she's here always, she's amazing. Palomar is, like, kind of off and on. They've been having a lot of, like, troubles within their own SBA. I don't know what's going on. I was supposed to visit them in the fall, and every SPA meeting I was supposed to go to, like, fell apart. I don't know. So I'm supposed to go see them, like, February 3rd or something. Maricosta, Kenneth's always alive and kicking. Not too worried about them. City, Diego's off and on. Mesa, their delegate is their SBA president, and she has so much on her plate. I have not seen her at a single meeting. I think they just had an alternate, and they're, like, inactive right now. So at the next delegate meeting, hopefully they show up. I'm just, like, sort of in contact with her. Miramar College, which is my college, our delegate just quit. So hopefully at my next SBA meeting for my college, I'll be like, hey guys, can you please send someone? And that'll happen, or it won't. So we'll see what happens then. And then Southwestern, also off and on, but he is alive, and I, like, talked to him. He's just also the SBA president for his college, so he's got, like, 1,000 things on his plate, which is, you know, how it goes. So doing okay. Doing all right.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. So hopefully, okay, yeah. So what do you guys think? Okay, I was thinking, what if we make it a goal to, like, have each region verify or find or reactivate 2 colleges before GA? Do you think that's an attainable goal? What are your guys' thoughts on that? 2 colleges? Because if each region adds 2 colleges, we would be at 100 out of 116 verified and activated. What do you guys think? Is that, like, too far-fetched? Is it not enough? Not a good goal? All right, silence.
I honestly don't know, just because I'm not familiar with what this activation process looks like, but that sounds doable at this point.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'll keep going to see if I can get those other delegates, you know, so that's what I'll be working on.
I'd say it's doable for my region.
Yeah.
Doable? Okay. Director Andrade?
Point of clarification, sorry, I just hopped on the scene. I dipped. Are we still on item E or F?
We're on item E.
All right, bet. And then sorry, I hopped on, like, sort of the tail end of what you were asking. Did you ask if 2 delegates, like, adding 2 delegates is, like, infeasible?
Yeah, like, if we establish a goal for each region to gain 2 delegates before GA, if that would be a doable goal, if that's something we actually want to do, or, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Director Greenwood?
I operate like anything is possible. So I think it will be doable. I'm optimistic, but I also know that I'm struggling in Region 7. So
Right. Okay. So how about we do this? Let's make it like a not formal goal, and we just sort of check back not next rack, but the next one, in 2 racks, and see how everyone's doing on that. Does that sound okay? So there's like no formal action. It's just sort of something we're reaching for.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. Let's do that. Okay, cool. Great activation update. Let's move down to agenda setting. This is sort of just like we had about professional development, but just more broad. I want to hear what your thoughts are. What do you want to see on future RAC agendas? Is it trainings? Is it, strategies? Both, like, specific things that you guys want to see on future RAC agendas?
I would like to see both because they are equally important. So for me, I think both will be great.
Okay, awesome. Director Andrade?
Thank you, Chair. All I was really going to just say was something I would like to see sooner rather than later is sort of any action that RAC needs to take for Delegate Assembly, for General Assembly. I wouldn't, because I am cautioned it's already February, and I know General Assembly is literally like April Fool's Day if I want to, not mistaken. So if anything that we need to be discussing, regarding that, whether that's from conference committee or whether that's from RAC or any other committee that needs to bring it back to us, I feel like we should have that conversation sooner rather than later. Thank you.
I think that's a great idea. You know what we should do? Okay, so conference committee, you guys know how at PD everyone's a facilitator, and after PD everyone was like, well, I didn't really know what I was supposed to be doing. What do you guys think about bringing a training on what your roles will be at GA and sort of how day-to-day how it will go?
Yes,
and
please.
I'll work with conference on getting a schedule up, like for maybe not next rack but the following, and we can go in depth, like, okay, Friday, Director Greenwood's assigned to the registration table, here's how it will go, Director Andrade is a facilitator in this place, so on and so forth. Yes? Okay, cool. So let's bring that back to February RAC, either the 1st or 2nd, and we'll do like a training on each of you guys' specific wherever you guys are like delegated. Cool. All right. Anything else for agenda setting? Okay, cool. All right. So definitely taking mental notes, and I will reflect back to the minutes to make sure that happens. Spring semester RAC meeting date and time. All right. So this is important. We're going to establish our recurring meeting date and time for the spring semester. Let me just pause share really quick and take a look at my calendar. Did everyone take a look at their calendar for, their availability this spring? Okay. So I have class from 9 to 11, from Monday through Thursday. So anytime after 11, I'm available. So
Chair?
Yeah.
Chair?
Recognize.
Do you want us to I have my schedule in Google Calendar. Do you just want a screenshot of
No, I'd rather have a discussion about it, and maybe I'll throw out some dates. So let's say let's do Monday. Do you guys want to have Monday meetings in the afternoon? Thumbs up.
Chair?
Yes.
I have my student government meets Mondays 12:30 to 2, and that's an unmovable time.
Okay. Director Andrade, recognized?
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to sort of suggest if we can keep it Thursday, but keep it pushing it to the afternoon for Thursday. I know that would also give you Monday and the weekend to do agendas and such. So keeping the day of the week, but just pushing the time, I think that'd probably be easier, ? Thank you, Chair.
Awesome. How about Thursdays at 2? Does Thursdays at 2 work?
Chair?
Yes.
I can do 2:30 to 4:30.
All right. So how about Thursdays at 3?
Chair?
Yeah.
I'm in the governing board on Thursdays once a month from 2 to basically 5.
And what day of the month is that? Like, is it a first
it's
week?
it's I think it's goes around a little bit.
Okay. I have class until 4 every day. Okay. We could do the afternoon. What about like 6 o'clock on Thursdays?
Okay.
Director Andrade?
I was going to recommend that time as well.
All right, everyone, I need everyone's show of hands. 6 o'clock Thursdays. 2nd and 4th Thursdays of the month, 6 o'clock. One.
Sounds good.
I can't do that.
You can't?
No, I have class from 5 to 7.
Oh, shoot. Director Greenwood?
Chair. Oh.
Dr. Greenwood?
Chair, I was just raising my hand for yes for the 6.
Oh, okay. Dr. Andrade?
I was going to say, I'm just going to start throwing days of the week out. How about Fridays? Does Fridays work for people? And I know it would be the 1st and the 3rd because we have the 2nd Friday is BOD. So that would be
RAD
sort
6.
of my next.
Good for RAD 6.
Okay.
I can do Friday the 3rd after 4.
Okay, so are those 2 hands up for yes?
No, Friday doesn't work for me. Sorry.
Dang. Oh my god, okay. This is always so much, there's always so much contention on this. Not contention, but like, we all have different dates. Okay. Director Andrade?
Like I said, I'm gonna just keep shooting my shot. How about I personally don't want to do weekends. I have work and a life.
I work.
So does Monday work for others? Any day of time of the week for Mondays? Like I said, I'm just trying to start spaghetti up a wall. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, Mondays. Mondays in the afternoon. I don't like morning meetings, guys. I'm not a morning person. I'm so sorry, but Mondays in the afternoon. Because I have school. Director Odenbrett?
I can do any Mondays. I'm free 1 to 5.
Okay, so we have 1 for 1 to 5. Mondays in the afternoon, let's say 1 or 2.
Chair,
Yes.
I already stated that I'm in student government 12:30 to 2 on Mondays.
Oh, dang, you're right. 12:30 to 2. Okay, and then Director Core is free after 2:15. So what about 3 to 5 on Mondays?
Chair?
Yeah.
So my student government meeting is from 3 to 5 on Mondays.
OMG. Okay, this is not going to work. What we're going to have to do is I'm going to send out a Google, a when to meet. Please fill it out so we can bring this back. And everyone just put your weekly availabilities. And then we'll find the one with the most dates. I think what's going to happen if somebody can't meet like that date, I think we have to continue because we all have so much going on. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll do a when to meet. I'll send it out tomorrow. And we'll establish our recurring meeting date and time at the next rack. That sound okay?
Yeah. I was gonna ask, Chair.
Yeah.
Would you be able to send out the one to meet now so that we can figure this out right now?
Okay, we can do that. Let's put it in the chat. We're at 4:42. We have 18 minutes. Let's try to get this done in 5-7 minutes. Two participants. Okay. Director Andrade.
Sorry. Point of information. My laptop just died. What are we doing right now?
We're doing a when to meet. So it'll just be like a Monday through Friday. Everyone just put their availability.
Okay. Period.
And I'll send it in chat and play some music, and we'll just establish it here and now, so we don't have to fill stuff out via email.
Okay. Period. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Here you guys go.
Chair?
Yeah.
Are you going to extend the times? Because I know one of the times was 6 and it's at 5.
Oh, okay. I don't think you can you? Oh, yeah, you can. Wait, everyone ignore that last one. We'll put up to 7 p.m.
And another question, Chair?
Yeah.
Are we going to extend it to the weekends?
No, I don't think it's a good idea to do weekend meetings.
Chair.
Yeah.
I would agree with you that I would prefer not having weekend meetings. Like I said, I have a life and work and just, I would prefer not to have weekend meetings. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, I think that we all have so much going on like during the week. I think we should all have a weekend off. All right, so I sent it in the chat. It's the second link with the T7 at the end. Let's do 3 minutes on the clock and we'll come back. All right, I'm going to play some music. BRB. All right. This music rocks. The rock. Love that. Okay, so let's check the when to meet. All right. Okay. Okay, unavailable. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we can't. There's no 2-hour period. Love that for us. Yeah, it's 1901 by Phoenix. Okay, 3 to 5 p.m. So it looks like Director Douge and Director Greenwood aren't available. And are you guys unavailable every like second and fourth Monday? Or is that like every single Monday that you guys are like not available? Yeah.
Every Monday it occurs.
And what time is it again?
3 to 5. And it sometimes goes over.
Okay.
And for me, Chair, mine is 12 to 2:30 every Monday. Sometimes, 12:30 to 2 every Monday. Sometimes the meetings go over a little bit, but I can make the 3. It might just be inconvenient, but I can do the 3.
Okay, let's see this time. And you're also unavailable here, Director Greenwood, on Wednesdays from 2 to 4.
I can do the 4. I believe I indicated that, but I can't.
It says you're unavailable here.
On Thursday, correct?
Wednesday.
No, I can't do Wednesday.
Okay.
During those times.
All right. I think, dang. Don't want to leave anyone out. Director Odenbrett?
Oh, this is an old hand. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So I feel kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. So, Director Andrade?
Just sort of, I don't know if you guys can hear me. Sorry, I'm sort of mobbing, but to sort of alleviate sort of your rock burden in the hard place, I would prefer to sort of establish a day and time now. I do establish that we're all not going to be sort of here every minute of every second day. So I personally, the director, would rather establish it as we priorly did, so I can just, acclimate it with my schedule and my work and all that jazz. So I personally would be game to sort of approve sort of what the majority of the group had to say. And that's just me and my 2 cents as a director. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Also see that some people, okay. All right. Director Greenwood?
So I would like to also, for us to recognize that excuse is not excused, even though it's excused. We had that conversation. So I would really like for us to try to include be inclusive of all the directors. And if it means that we can only meet for an hour, I think that we should do that instead of making one or other directors go that route.
All right, so let me just give me a second to look at all of this and see if there's not another available time.
Terrible.
Go ahead.
Would we be able to, could we postpone it another week? Because I know VOD is the 10th, so would we look at the next week? I guess it's it would be the same.
Yeah, it would be the same. I can always adjust. Okay. Can everyone just... I'm really okay, is this your guys' final availability? There's no other place to that you're not available at Tuesday? Because the majority of you guys just put this time right here. So I'm wondering if this is just the time that was preferred and maybe not the time that's doable. Can anyone go back in and adjust their dates and times? I know this takes a while, but it just has to be done. It's one of those things. So thank you guys for bearing through this. All right, so everyone just go back in. If you have any more availability, let's do that. Give it about another minute. I'll be right back. Director Green, we're just updating this. If you have any other availability that you might not have put here, just to go back in and re-enter those dates and times, because this date excludes one of our members. All right, I'm just going to keep refreshing. Thank you guys for coming back here and doing this. Okay, so this is our most time. This is another time also unavailable. I'll also make myself, because I have work too, but I'll figure it out. So okay, this seems like the second most. So Director Greenwood, just to reiterate, you are unavailable on Wednesdays from 3 to 5.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I don't see any sort of compromise. So I'll open up the floor. Do you guys have any suggestions on how to move forward? Director Greenwood, recognized.
So I understand like how hard it is to get everyone's availability, but if we're doing this by everybody's availability and then we're also like potentially excusing people, then maybe we need to look into that, because I don't think that's fair. For me on my end, I can try to look at like my class schedule and see if I could try to change classes, but I mean like to try to adjust, but that's not like a guarantee that there'll be a class like available some other time, like for some of these times, and that'll take some time for me to do.
Okay. Director Andrade?
I move to table this to the next regional affairs committee.
All right, it's been moved to table this item to the next regional affairs committee meeting. Is there a second?
Can I object?
We're not at objections yet.
That was just okay.
Is there a second? All right, hearing none, the motion dies. We'll just continue this. We will, okay, all right, so here are our options right now. So we don't have any availability here where everyone's available. And so what we can do now is we can either make a motion to continue with the date that the majority is available, or we can send out another when to meet via email, have everyone figure out the next RAC meeting date and time, and in that time find a way to like adjust our schedules, because we have to make a compromise here. So those are our options: either make a motion to affirm a date or continue via email to find a new date.
Sure.
Yes.
I move to approve of the date of Mondays bi-weekly from 3 to 5 on the condition that we have meeting dates and times listed on other agendas in case we do want to change the times, in case we find a better time that works with everybody.
All right, it's been moved to host RAC bi-weekly on Mondays from 3 to 5 with the condition that we post this on future meeting agendas to find an alternative date. Is there a second?
A second.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any objections?
I have a procedural question.
All right, go ahead.
Is it possible I can put a contingency on that motion?
You would have to move to amend it.
So can I make a move to amend it?
Yes, you're recognized.
I'd like to make a move to amend it and also discuss the excuse policy.
So you're asking that we place an item to discuss the accountability policies?
Yes, with that being included, because yes.
I had a procedural question.
All right, so I'm going to stop right there. There's a motion on the floor to add the accountability procedures to the previous motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Great. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing and seeing none, the motion passes, and the previous motion is amended to include with the addition of accountability procedures and like excusals and all that. Okay, I see some hands up. Director Andrade, you're recognized.
Sorry, Chair. That was an old hand.
Okay. Director Odenbrett?
So I remember the excuse is not excused policy, we were talking about that at BOD. Can you explain that? And also, would we be able to change that, since obviously this is a very difficult process, and if like someone can't make it, someone can't make it. I feel like that's unfair.
Right. So basically, as it is right now, written in policy, regardless of the fact that you're excused, since it is a mandatory meeting, you still receive a deduction. So it's sort of like you can compare it to like if you're at a job, right? If you don't come to your work, you're not going to receive the pay for it. Like even if you have vacation time, you're still not getting paid for those hours that you didn't show up to. You can sort of compare it to that. And so sort of the discussion now is let's review that to see if that's something that we want to present as a change, since there's obviously some contention around it. All right, any other questions? Also, I had a point of clarification. So Director Villarreal, you said bi-weekly. Is that continuing the second and fourth Monday or the first and third Monday?
I'd say, I'm just going to pick one. So I'm just going to say second and fourth Monday.
Okay. All right. So Director Andrade, just note that in the minutes, please. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for that. I know it's long, but it's just one of those things that like has to be done. So thank you for bearing through that. And hopefully we can come to either a compromise or a resolution on that. We'll move down to communications from the floor. At this time, are there any comms from the floor? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move over to adjournment. Are there any objections to adjourning at 6 p.m.? Hearing and seeing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you guys so much. Love y'all. Bye.
Thank you. We pair the meeting?
Yeah.
Is it possible I can talk to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'll have your minutes at the end of later on tonight, don't worry.